Hello and welcome to an early edition of SuperCoach Insider. My name is Ben.
And I'm Chris.
And thank you for having us. We're getting in nice and early.
We are.
Chris's motto to life.
Pretty much that's what I do.
Well, you love life.
Yeah, okay.
And it's very exciting. So most people should have Sunday afternoons off and evenings off. But it is our birthday week.
It is our birthday week.
It is our birthday week. Speaking of which, let's have a quick little cheers.
We should have a cheers to us.
To us. To Robbie Gray getting injured.
Oh, we got to go there early. Look, I suppose it doesn't feel like we're going early because football seems to like been going on forever.
That is true.
Right?
It doesn't end.
It doesn't end.
It doesn't end like my love for Katrina.
Oh.
Who may be listening right now.
Look at you go. Oh, look at you. Just getting some brownies.
She may be listening.
We
Chris.
love you, Katrina.
Can I also say, we'll have to do a score check, but SPS did not do very well, Chris.
No, he didn't.
He did not.
No. But he did all right in a loss.
Yeah, 70.
74, I
They
think.
should have
74,
won. We'll
so-
get into that.
I didn't watch it. So
We
I'm
are currently waiting for SuperCoach to open live so we can actually see the break-evens and all of the rest. But first things first, we are on facebook.com/SC Insider.
Yep.
Twitter, if you're not on Twitter, so much great work goes on Twitter. We are SC_Insider_.
Yep, and twitch.tv, which is what a lot of people are watching us on right now, twitch.tv/SC_Insider, and on YouTube and all major podcast platforms.
Yes.
Got it right this week.
So Spotify, I know.
Yeah.
Spotify, SoundCloud, you name it. There's so many.
Pretty much.
So many audio platforms, which we will upload this audio tonight.
Yep.
And
So tell us all, we're all in suspense. How did you go this week? What's your overall
not
score?
too bad. I have Setterfield still on my bench, waiting for him to come back next week. Hopefully he gets named next week, or I might just have to, stroll on down to Bunnings. But
Is it next week that he plays?
well, he plays this. Well,
Again, I'm getting confused.
He should be
'cause-
playing this week, except if they might go, you need a round in the seconds to give yourself some confidence,
Nah.
which I hope not. So, look, I did pretty well.
Another week of Paulson and they're ready to...
Yeah, that is true. He should come in instead of Paulson. But look, I did quite well. Petrocelli on field, Parker on field. My forward line is my weakness at this point in time. However, with Clark being out, I put Hoare on field. I emergencied Dersma, so I took his score, took Scrimshaw off there. Emergencied Stack, which meant I could take Butters off field, and that worked out. So I won points on both of those lines, which was really good for me. I was a bit worried, but luckily VC'd Neil, so did quite well. And if I go to my team, I think I scored 2,211 or something, or 2,214. Decent enough. I think
that's a lot.
I was on track for a big score, but because Cripps and Danger...
I think that actually helped you a lot more than you think.
I'm hoping so as well.
So, because I think a lot of people would have had Captain Cripps or Captain Danger.
So 22-16.
Yeah. So those people that did, you're not getting hurt by those big captain scores. So they may have scored 2,300. Now they're only scoring 2,200.
Well, if you didn't VC somebody on the Wednesday, Thursday, and you don't have Neil, then you were in big trouble.
Yeah.
Big trouble.
Points-wise. Well, I mean, it really bridged the gap for me because I had two really poor on-field scores. So I ended up with 21-38 this week, so a lot less than you. But I had Robbie Gray on field for a nice little 54. And I also had Butters on field for a 46. So those two really impacted my scoring, especially considering that on the podcast last week, I was saying that I was going to trade Butters down to Ross.
Yes.
And I didn't do it. Didn't pull the trigger.
We weren't expecting Haitley to get a 95 in his first game.
The issue was, and we spoke about this off air earlier, is that if we had known that Haitley wasn't going to get game 2, I probably would have.
Ross would have been in more people's sides. But
I would have pulled.
And the thing is that this is the anomaly though. You don't often get a Wednesday night game, a Thursday day game before you're looking at
5 p.m. teams.
14 teams. You don't know who's playing. So if you went early, which obviously at this point it was the right move for those that went with Baker and is it Baker? It's Baker, right?
Baker. Yeah,
Baker and Ross. Then
I still wouldn't have gone Baker anyway.
No, but he did well. He had a good game.
I know a lot of people that did, which is good for them.
And I mean, they were playing the D's in the end. I can't believe I said they would win. I still tipped them.
Oh, did you really? I tipped them too.
I tipped them by 12.
But I remembered after. I've definitely got Richmond locked in here. Check my tips after the game started. No, I'd left.
Richmond played better for longer, for sure.
Because at the start of the season, I go through and I select all tips, just based on what I think at the start of the season. Then I just adjust them if I need to on the week.
And you didn't adjust.
I didn't adjust.
You didn't.
So for some reason at the start of the year, I thought Melbourne were going to beat Richmond in round 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think that's too far.
But the problem is that, and a lot of people will know this, because you get the Wednesday and the Thursday game, they play before the teams are announced. So if you have a premium out or one of those 50-50s that you could upgrade, if you went early, and some people went early on Hately, they put it in, they did their trade, and then teams are announced, and too bad, it's locked in. So I waited. I thought I'll wait. And then once the teams are announced, I already knew I was going to miss those first couple. And unfortunately for us, those that actually did go early and locked those ones in and made those changes before teams announced, they this week are the winners. Yep. And for those that were like, oh, well, we'll just wait because, now we still have one option.
We still got Will
from
Hayes.
the Dogs. Yeah, we got Will Hayes, which will be the option.
He looked
However,
okay, and I think he'll keep playing, but his scoring output doesn't seem fantastic.
But Ross had a really good game, and it looks like he's going to make 100k in 2 weeks. So
yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either. You missed out on Stack and Ross, and you're sitting there with your butters.
I do.
Yes.
Anyway, so look, that was our week in a nutshell. We'll probably get to rankings, etc. later. I think that the pass score for this week, based on the last couple of days, will probably be around 2100, 2150. So, as opposed to, I think at the start of the week, there was a lot of people running around with predicted scores of 2350, 2400.
Although Liberatore was predicted for a 140. So, I mean, don't
always... Libba has a bad week. McRae goes,
Don't listen to
Bont
your predictions.
Yeah. Cripps and then
Danger. Yeah.
And that pretty
everyone
much kills
just
everyone's week. So,
I was on track for like 3350, I think, and ended up with 22. So I'm happy.
I was on track for like 2100 all week, like at best. So
before we get to the Twitch, there's a lot of people commenting, which I love.
We do love. Thank you very much.
What we're going to do today, we're going to go through a quick analysis of what we've seen so far through this round.
Yep.
We're going to touch on once it opens, SuperCoach opens. We're going to go through the break evens, etc. Thursday night, we're talking about getting together for after teams announced, like 7 p.m.-ish, and do a bit of a half an hour kind of going through the actual announcements, just for a quick one, because it's easy to say at this point in time who we would do, who we'd put in.
Who we're thinking about doing.
Yeah.
Who we actually do is very different.
Thursday we'll answer a few more specifics on trade options.
And I think now that the teams, everyone's starting
Friday
to upgrade.
night game now too. It's a Friday night game, which means everything should be announced by the first bounce of the game, which is amazing. I can't wait.
I think for us and for everyone out there, if you're looking at doing trades, which you obviously should be doing from now on, it's upgrade season. So anything that you're looking at and that you do want questions on, you can ask us live on Twitch when we're doing our Thursday night pod, and it's going to be a lot easier for you guys as well. Yep. So
and let's not forget, it's only 5 rounds until the first bye.
That's true. That's true.
We got 5 rounds and then the first bye. So
excellent. So let's start the first game of the round. So Richmond versus Melbourne.
Oh, you're just snobbing the Twitch people. Are there there any good comments, Chris?
There's plenty of good comments.
I reckon let's go. We've got a little bit of time until SuperCoach gets it done. Let's see if there's any good comments.
I like it. All right. Well, okay. First of all, Swiss says what to do with Whitfield. So with Whitfield, Leon Cameron announced after the game that they're going to assess him later in the week. He may even play. Yes, he'll bleed cash, but if you've got him, you've got to hold him.
Oh,
and if he's going to miss, I think he might miss a week. It's only a corked. I know it's a badly corked quad, but a week at best, right? Maybe 2.
Yeah.
Either way, hold.
Well, yeah. If you have him, you hold. But the reason you hold as well is that someone actually did a predictor outline. If he scores 100 in his next 2 games, he drops below 500,000.
Yeah, which is great for me.
Yeah, and me too. So I'm eyeing off already. Once he drops, I'm jumping on.
The reason why it's a valid question is I did have someone ask me via message, should I trade Whitfield to Lloyd over the next week or so?
Well, if you don't have him, but then...
Well, I mean...
That's hard, though.
The question is based around... Whitfield's worth X amount right now. Lloyd's worth X amount. You could probably do it in one trade.
Yes. Whitfield will drop, and then you'll probably...
So you're gaining, 100 grand, but you're spending 2 trades to do it, right?
But you're already going to you're going to spend 1 trade to get him anyway.
Yeah.
So really, you're burning 1 trade for 100 grand.
Yeah. So I can understand where the thought process is. Trades are just worth more than that. Like, just hold him. Like, the defensive rookies are good enough right now that you should be able to throw a Scrimshaw on field or a Callum Wilkie, who...
Especially in defense.
Callum Wilkie, I think he might be the highest averaging defensive rookie right now.
No way.
He got a 73 on the weekend, following up from his 112.
Okay, maybe he would be.
I think he might be up there.
I think he might be.
Something I might look into later in the week.
Well, you could probably go for a premium. Yes,
anyway. That's so definitely hold. Kato23 says, hello, welcome back. In Ben's voice. Oh, that's really nice. Best downgrade options this week. Downgrade options. Oh, okay. Probably we'll get through to that once.
Same as with the more to Caleb Daniel. We'll get to sort of that stuff in a little bit.
We will.
Yeah, because that'll be just changing.
It'll all depend on what the prices change to based on SuperCoach opening, which will probably happen while we're on this podcast. So once we get through the round review, we'll be able to go right through break evens and all that stuff at the end.
Yes.
Then we can have a better idea of our downgrade and upgrade targets for the next week. Have a look at the bubble boys, etc. So it's a little bit of a switched around.
Yeah.
Pod, I suppose.
And if it doesn't open live, then I know no one better than us than to talk crap for a little while until it happens.
That's pretty accurate.
It's pretty accurate.
It's pretty much what we do.
Especially this guy.
Thank you very much. I am too old, too slow. Says good evening, gents. What a great way to spend a Sunday night. Well, I agree. I mean, you got freaking My Kitchen Rules fucking grand final somewhere in some other room, which no one cares about. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Except for my partner, she's in the next room.
Well, it is good because the round finishes. People are usually free on a Sunday night, and for those who are paying attention, probably on their commute tomorrow morning, they'll be like falling over themselves. What the hell? We got a podcast to listen to on Monday.
True.
I hate Mondays except for today because we are online, Chris.
Who doesn't love that? So Swizz says as well, Darcy Moore to Tim Kelly, so that's another one to look at.
Darcy Moore to anyone seemed pretty popular.
A few burns this week, struggled and only made 2,090 when I was predicted to go 2,350. Wow.
Welcome.
Yeah, and look, I think you're not alone there. I think a lot of people were there.
Guaranteed he had Liberatore.
Yeah.
There's an extra 100 predicted that he missed out on.
Well, look, at the end of the day, in my opinion, I still think Libba was a great selection. He's probably done his job at this point. I think he must be over 500k.
He has, but not only that, his average, he was averaging like 117 or something. So,
yeah, so
a 60
now it's
score,
awkward,
it's balanced out a bit. His price gen,
Now it's like, is it worth trading him or do you hold him?
No, I'd get rid of him. He's done your job. You can go one down, one up to
I never considered him to be...
He was an upgrade.
Yeah, he's always a stepping stone for me.
He would make 200 grand. I don't see him
I can see why people would hesitate.
Well, he's an easy upgrade now.
Yeah.
So, 100%.
And Ando, so Back Night finished with 22.93. Well done, sir. That's a very nice score.
He obviously didn't have Petrotelli on his field.
Yeah. So Swizz says, how bad is Supercoach when you get beaten by someone without Danger McRae and Cripps? Ooh, that's ouch town. Sorry.
Yeah, it would be the anomaly. The 1 week you would lose to that person. I hope it's a cash league.
Nice. Yeah. Nathan 77 says 260k in the bank and 27 trades. Few decisions to come. Yeah, it's a good position to be in.
Cash is the big thing.
Yeah, I'm probably very similar because I've got 28 trades and about 90k. So with one downgrade, I'd be fairly close to that same bank mark.
I think I've got 27 and 50.
I think that's pretty common, yeah.
27 and 50, yeah. For, some people have got
around
21,
about that.
21 trades.
Yeah,
but the thing with Liberatore is his average throughout the season has already he's already pushed you into higher ranked numbers.
Yep.
How well he has started has already pushed you into high ranked numbers. I saw somebody saying, oh, thank God I kept Taranto with a 130. Oh, thank God I actually held on to Taranto. And I was like,
5 weeks of poor scoring.
Well, I just said, I was like, okay, 130 this week. So his average goes from 95 to 100. He's already cost you 5 rounds. So one round of good. Yes, it's great that you held on to him and he's finally pulled through with a great score. But he's now averaging 100 over the whole scheme of the year.
Premium should already be out of your team.
Correct. And you picked him to be a top 10, not to average 100. So
I think him and Brayshaw, I think, are the two in that, and probably Steele
and Brouch as well.
But they're mid-pricer. I reckon, you pick Steele because you thought he was a top 10. You picked, Brayshaw and Taranto as those breakout candidates to go top 10. But I think they're all done.
They're toast. And at the same time, we did say Brouch, though, that you would have to upgrade him.
Yep.
And he hasn't been giving you premium numbers that people were
the
expecting.
only one you wouldn't at the moment is Rocky.
Yeah,
everyone.
Rocky's
Dom Sheed's gone. Brad Crouch is gone.
Brad Crouch is gone.
And you'd probably hold outside of the midfield. You'd hold Williams at the moment.
Yeah.
Especially with Whitfield down a little bit.
And even Matt Crouch has been a little disappointing.
He has been.
But he's still averaging well because of his first game.
He's so consistent. I think his lowest game's 95?
93 or something. He just keeps hitting around the
mark.
So
you're almost like, I'll let it go. And Adelaide aren't playing that well.
No, and he'll be one to turn it around anyway. But
definitely. 100%
Liberatore, he has been making cash. Once his break even gets too high, I think you literally move him to a premium. He's done his job. He's made you 200 grand. You started him over an Oliver, and at this point in time, you can nearly sideways trade. I think it'll cost you not even much.
Oliver's 105 looks great this week compared to the other premium scoring.
I know. And he's the butcher as well. And
Yeah,
everyone's
exactly.
upset.
Oh, man.
It's literally Butcher Town. Brad Crouch butchered it.
Yep.
Had so many contested ball, but butchered the ball.
It's interesting
Cornelio
because a lot of
butchered
the
it.
guys who won the most possessions for their team on the day, they all got they all had really poor scores.
Yeah, they poor scores.
So Dangerfield still had 30 today. I think Oliver had 32.
Dangerfield went at like 50%.
Yeah.
Which I'll have a look in a
I
second.
think Cornelio had 4 goals.
Dangerfield
and he got
started off
24.
his first quarter. He was going at 20% disposal efficiency.
Wow.
He was on 11.
Yeah,
Horrible.
He can do that from time to time.
Cornelio ended up dislocating his finger or something. Played forward, kicked 4 goals.
Yep.
But again, he also went at like 50% disposal efficiency. You look at Brad Crouch went at 60%, so he wasn't as bad. But he got contested ball and then didn't do much else outside of that.
Yeah.
So people that butchered it this week really did not score well.
No, and that's the theme with SuperCoach anyway.
Yeah, if you don't like it, go
Blakey
play Dream Team.
says, score 23-10. Good week for me.
That's
yeah,
a
well
great
done,
week.
mate. Great week. It says Tatum SN says the best 2 times we've had the female ump, the free kick count has been 39. Oh wait, so the last 2 times we've had the female ump, the free kick count has been 39-23, and we've lost both games under a goal. Reckon she's a
Carlton.
Pies fan. Oh,
Carlton.
Must be a Carlton man.
Yeah, no, it's,
I didn't see the game today, so
I saw a bit of the Hawks one, although Bruce did the old sneaky. So what happened is he caught the ball literally on the boundary line. So the angle should be the most impossible angle, and then he tries to run on. So he's already trying to do, you know how they do like 2 steps back, sideways step, 2 steps back, sideways step.
Yeah.
So he's kind of done that, back, sideways. So she's like, that's your line. And then she's too busy looking at everyone over here to make sure they're 5 meters back. And once she turns her head away from him, he literally just goes, dun, 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 dun.
Steps back out.
I'm over here. She looks back at him, and then he goes, step, step. And he's already like 2 meters inside the boundary line, and then just snaps it straight in.
Huh.
And
That's a
BT,
good
I think
effort.
it was some other commentator, maybe BT. I think it was.
That's a pretty good effort. I
Because he keeps
respect that.
calling everyone the wrong name, BT.
Who knows?
So many times this week, BT.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are, but I mean, they're all getting old. So
I know, I was
you gotta forgive them
thinking-
at some point.
I can't remember
I
what
was
game it
too busy watching the Avengers Endgame, and it was fucking amazing. But I won't say anything about the movie to our followers out there. Just go see it. Just go do it.
Yes.
Um,
Speaking of which, BT Friday night footy, and I did not enjoy Friday night footy that much. I actually found, I don't know why. Maybe it's North Melbourne. Maybe they don't. Higgins was out, so there goes a big key attraction. But I don't know. I don't know if it's North, but BT's after for anyone that actually saw it. That's on this Twitch or anything like that. BT.
The roaming Brian.
Oh, it was so awkward. It was so funny. And
yeah,
then he's going.
it does get awkward at times.
Yeah, Dersma, who's first year footy, probably 18, has a girlfriend who's in school, like 17 or 18 or whatever she is, and BT's like, oh, what did he get you for Valentine's Day? And she's like, oh, well, he got something delivered to school. And BT's like, oh my, like, what the hell? Like, full puzzled. BT had no idea. Asked Rockcliffe, who he's living with. He's like, my missus and my kid. And then Rocky's cracking up. I actually enjoyed Rockcliffe because he's sitting there just like, yeah, mate, like laughing at BT on how crap he is. It was so funny.
Fair enough.
Anyway, sorry.
All right,
Sorry for the
moving on.
ramble.
So he's got 21-22. Having all the underperforming primos kill me. Yes, I think it killed a lot of people, so you're not alone. Whiffle was on 1 leg. That's on Cato 23. Yes, he was.
Very low score.
Liver to Josh Kelly. I love a good Josh Kelly. And Josh Kelly looks so consistent, but we will get into them when we talk about GWS.
He has been very consistent.
Hoare is averaging more than Wilkie, but has played less games. Yes, that's true. Hope you're enjoying my boyfriend. Oh, Katrina's in the chat. So what's Award Cat 91? Oh, I see. A bit of a 91 theme.
Cat.
I like it. I didn't know she was a
Wow.
91 girl. I like that. I respect that.
Oh, no, I can't say that.
What are you doing?
I was going to...
Yeah, just stop
Yeah.
it. What to do with Cogs if he misses a few games with injury? I don't think he will. It was just a dislocated finger, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
unless he has surgery or something. Unless he pulls a Robbie Gray.
It's unlikely for them to miss a game from a dislocated finger. So see how that goes. But we'll continue on. And JR Stiff says, "What up, fellas? What up? How you going, JR Stiff?"
Hey,
All right. So let's get into
Start
it.
off in Richmond versus Melbourne.
We will.
Um,
It was good. It was good having a short gap between football, wasn't it?
It was, and I did enjoy it. Melbourne were pretty good to start with. I'm not going to lie. Tom McDonald was swung back, and
Yep. Someone, by the way,
I can't remember, I
sneaky-
can't remember who that journalist was though, trying to make it out like there was some big story, like some late news.
Probably Tom Brown. That guy's always freaking.
I don't think it was Tom
making
Brown. I
shit
think it was
up.
the other one. Anyway, the other one that's full of himself.
So-
We got late news, and everyone's thinking there's a late out, and then it was like, oh no, McDonald's playing in the defense line, which was already televised
Oh,
anyway
yeah,
before his
yeah.
late news. So we're all falling all over ourselves. Hooley turned back the time. He went absolutely massive. So did a lot of Richmond defenders.
Yeah, and that was the theme, really, wasn't it? So the Richmond defence versus the Melbourne, actually, I think they won the inside 50s for the day, but the problem was...
once it hits the ground, they just sweep it straight out.
It's kind of like... I kind of feel like, they moved Tom McDonald behind the ball because their defence is so leaky, and they were better defensively. 100% they were.
Yes.
However, their forward movement was really, 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 really bad, like beyond worse. So, but Tom hasn't been performing, so you sort of go, where's the in-between there? Yeah. What are they missing? It's probably a giant $1 million a year paycheck with Jesse Hogan's name.
Oh, and Stephen May as well, but he should be back at some point soon, I think.
Yeah, he was only supposed to be 1 or 2,
weeks,
so
maybe it's...
I'm surprised. Probably the short week. It was, he's probably going to be playing next week, I'd say.
Well, you'd hope so.
But yeah, so every time the ball went inside their forward 50, they just turned it over to Richmond defenders, and they were just they play one behind the ball and just dominated in the air, dominated on the ground. They couldn't get a...
You know what I find really funny? Melbourne were the highest scoring team, so they're going, okay, we can get rid of Hogan, and what we'll do is that we'll get better balance, so we'll bring in a really good key defender.
Yep.
And
it's completely flipped their dynamic.
Well, they can't score, and they're leaking like a sieve. Mm-hmm. Absolutely leaking so bad. The thing that I noticed, though, is that once the ball would go into Melbourne, they had absolutely more inside 50s. That the minute it hit the ground, Richmond were actually really working hard back into defence to provide numbers. So the minute it hit the ground, they had numbers around the ball. No,
it was impressive from Richmond, and I'm glad that they did win. I thought that I was tipping... Halfway through the game, I still thought that I tipped them, so
I knew I did.
It was good. But Gawn going big was obviously fantastic from a SuperCoach point of view.
Yes, I know a few people were keen on Gawn,
and a lot of people had him as captain. So
yeah.
Look, the only reason we didn't, and we said this last week on the pod, is that with a 4-day break, not sure if he can, produce a 140 or 150, something that's required for a captain score.
Yeah, correct. And we did say I think it was Grundy into Neil or Neil into Cripps. Yeah. I went Neil into Cripps, which ended up working out better for me because if I went Grundy, I would have had to take it.
Yeah, of course.
100%. So,
yeah. Oliver again. So 105 score for Oliver. It's not terrible. It was almost scraped there, to be completely honest. But
29 disposals. The thing I've noticed about Oliver the last few weeks is that his effort has actually been really, really high.
Yeah.
He's just turned it over a little bit in previous weeks. Maybe not as much this week, but in previous weeks. And he's been working really hard, but not quite getting to the right areas.
Yeah.
He's kind of there, but the ball would go to the other side.
Yeah, and you're watching him on the screen. You're like, get it to him.
Yeah.
He's right there for a handball receive. He's free. He's open.
And
he's better than you. Stop kicking it.
I'm sure some of you are as biased as we are. I actually posted, not this game, but I think it was Dersma didn't go up after he kicked a poor hind.
Yeah,
or
you
whatever
did.
else.
Yeah, but he did. It's just.
I was like,
they gave the free kick to the wrong person.
Yeah, I was like, where are his points? So I full tagged them raging.
You did. You raged hard.
Oh yeah, I want my points.
One thing that's interesting to keep an eye on is that because McDonald was playing behind the ball, two things. First of all, his scoring was quite well. So Tom McDonald hits an 88.
Yep.
Which is nice for him. Now he is bottom price. So again, we don't know what he's changed to, but this week he had a break even of 96. Which means that he's definitely still going to go down, maybe even 5k more. He's priced at 360,000, so he's going to be 355,000 essentially.
Yes, but the problem is you don't know what's going to happen when May comes back in.
You don't, and
he was such a high scorer.
It's a massive risky move, but I can see someone pulling that trigger if they only had that sort of money and they didn't want to burn 2 trades, to go down and go up. I'm in a position with Robbie Gray where he's probably going to be worth, because of his terrible game the past 2 weeks, probably going to go down to about 410k. Kind of leaves you in no man's land. You've either got to go down up, and then you're in the same position you were. It's a premium for a premium, but you've wasted 2 trades, or you've got to go down to a speculative person, or have cash in the bank and go 1 trade up to someone. So I can see why people would look at, say, a Tom McDonald as a potential option, but without further information, it's probably just too early to pull that trigger. And the other thing is that Clayton Oliver played a lot forward during the game. So he played first 5 to 7 minutes of each quarter at full forward and didn't get anything out of it, unfortunately. Literally.
No, I know. But at the same time...
Could have, but the ball movement was just not getting to him.
At the same time, though, short turnaround, you really want to throw a guy in the mid a whole stack anyway. So I wouldn't read too much into it. If it is a
That
new
could
game
also be
style,
true.
it could be interesting. If it happens again,
Just
then
something to keep an eye on, yeah.
If it happens again, take note for sure.
Because if that's going to be a regular thing, you might need to trade him out.
Yeah.
Because he might... If he, I mean, yeah, he's 105's fine. But if he gets 60s because he's playing more forward time...
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't see it happening though.
No, I don't either, but it's just something to keep an eye on. Another thing is obviously Melksham's role completely changed.
Especially with Viney in his shoulder, depending on how that goes as well. More news we have to wait for. They find out tomorrow, I think, getting looked at.
So Melksham was thrown in on the ball and played a lot of on the ball minutes. So he got a 101. So someone, especially in draft leagues, definitely not, I don't think, I don't think at this point, I don't think he's going to be standard relevant, but draft relevant, he could be on a lot of waiver wires. So I would pick him up. Just, if you've got an underperforming forward at the moment in draft, look at him for your waiver wires and jump on him.
Well,
I think role change is going to be massive for him.
Hibbert had a role change as well. He actually ran with Dusty Martin.
Yeah, he played some midfield time.
Improved his SuperCoach scoring to 30 for the game. So he had a great role. He's running around with Dusty Martin, who's a ball magnet, and he can only get 11 disposals for 30 SuperCoach.
That's true.
Go figure.
More news is Jack Riewoldt is out for 6 to 8 weeks with a PCL. So
that's 2 low scores for him in a row.
Yeah, well, no, he actually scored quite well. He scored 106 in that game.
Oh, right. So the one before he did.
Yeah.
The time before he got injured.
So, at least he did that before he came off. But yeah, that PCL is going to keep him out for 6 to 8 weeks. 2 things, obviously, out of that. Bolter looks like he's going to be getting some more game time, which is hopefully going to be good. He scored quite well when he was on the ground, but his time on ground was terrible.
Who's this?
Bolter.
Bolter was 61% time on ground. 61%. Again, so low again.
And look, he did some good things. I know he only scored 31, but how many frees against did he have? Honestly,
can't tell here, Chris.
I'll get that up. He had he does good things, but he just gives away stupid free kicks. He's sometimes too aggressive at the ball for his own good, and it really impacts his overall scoring because he just ends up doing stupid things. So he had 4 frees against. Look, check out these stats. I know he only had 6 disposals, but he had 1 mark, 5 tackles, and 7 hitouts. So, and he had a couple of those were to advantage.
Yeah,
he was doing quite okay.
With Riewoldt out as well, he could, and I know he's been horrible for the better part of 5 rounds because he missed one or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. He could absolutely have a blinding game where he gets hitouts, he gets marks, he gets tackles, and he kicks a few goals, and then he gets you 100.
Yep.
I think Swizz was saying he at any point he could hit you 100 because
that's why people are keeping him.
With his role, it could happen, and he is one good game.
All you need is one good game from him, and then 2 weeks of cash gen, and then you can ship him on then.
Yep.
Now, of course, there were a lot of rookies that played. Jack Ross looked fantastic in his role. I really liked him. I'm just regret every time he got the ball. I was like, I hate my life. I hate my life.
Yep.
I hate my life.
Hoare has a really good role as well. 86 again, another good score. 19 disposals.
He's literally just sitting back behind the ball, kick behind the play at all times, waiting for that cheap intercept possession.
It's great.
It's fantastic.
It's great. Played 85% time on ground. Looks like he fits in. I don't think they're getting rid of him. Although when Stephen May comes back in, I think it'll be interesting. I don't think it's
more Jeddah.
Yeah.
Because Jeddah typically plays those smaller opponents. He seems a lot smaller than watching him on... I don't know how tall he is in real life. I think he's only like 190, maybe 191. Yeah. Which would not make him key position, really. He's not going to play in a gorilla forwards or anything like that.
You'd hope not. And even then, if Stephen May comes back, they might kind of get rid of someone else. I don't think you can get rid of Hoare the way he's been playing.
Yeah.
And he plays with energy in that defence, which no one else in that defence does.
Yeah.
Let's move on, games. I think that pretty much covers these guys.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Stack again. Did you like the hit from Stack?
Oh, so good. His little specky. And everyone loved it. Like, the crowd went nuts. When he came off the field, everyone cheered. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, he's going all right. Good on your Stack. Oh, and something about Stack that Jack Riewoldt brought to light after the game is that he was asked, what is it? Why is it that Stack didn't get a run with any other clubs? And he literally just put him on blast right there and was like, yeah, it's pretty much his attitude, eh? Like live on camera, I was like, yeah, it wasn't anything to do with his on-field stuff. It was just off-field stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, you can't do that live on TV.
No, but there was well documented, and there have been other guys that they take a risk on, players that you might use a draft.
Most of the time it doesn't work.
Yeah. He is the exception at this point in time where he is happy for the opportunity, he's listening, he's being a bit of a pest, being like, when's training? And he's like, mate, same time as every week, just get your ass here. But he is doing all the right things, and I think that, unlike some others that kind of relinquish and kind of piss up that opportunity. I actually think he's putting in the hard work and trying to contribute for the team and being like, this is what I can bring. This is my opportunity. This is true. Yeah, and some people that's what they need. They go, this is your opportunity, take it. So then they give their absolute best, and then you have others that are like Harley Bennell that just do Coke Think and they're amazing.
It's true.
And get drunk on planes and then do their calves every other week. So, which we still haven't seen him.
No, we haven't.
Literally.
I don't want to talk about him though because he's in my keeper league.
At this point, Fremantle are literally Bennell's sugar daddy because they're saying we haven't given up on you, and he just keeps feeding them a little bit. We haven't given up on you. Just give me more money, sugar daddy.
It's all ripe over there in WA.
100%.
Anyway, on to Anzac Day Clash, or as I like to call it, the Pendlebury medal game.
Oh wow! Look, enough's been spoken about the atmosphere at the end and everything like that. So I don't want to really get into that at this point. I think most of the social platforms and stuff will be bombarded with that this week. So I think we spare you from our booing and our Pendlebury and our Essendon antics. I've already had my say on social media, which I don't know. I have too. I felt pretty compelled. You have. You kept baiting people, sending them the rules.
Which the umpires came out and sent the same rules, by the way.
Here are the rules, yeah, right. Yeah, you're like, here are the rules.
Look, I think it's pretty common knowledge in terms of the public doesn't generally know the rules properly. They know the rules in general, when it should be applied realistically. Oh, that's ball because it looks like it.
Yeah, I even
what the actual what is holding the ball? Most people don't know. I wouldn't be able to regurgitate.
Whenever you get agitated, I stare you up. I was like, yeah, he dropped it. And then you're like, no, he's making a legitimate attempt, full going off. Absolutely going off.
I unfortunately overanalyze everything. It's what I do. It's my scar to bear.
Chris is probably the easiest person to bait, especially around football. The easiest person. But
at least you know what you're talking about, though. That's the issue is that when someone who doesn't know what they're talking about says something to me, I'm just like, I will kill you.
Yeah, snap.
No, I would never do it.
Going to this game, though, I think... it was pretty funny that Collingwood nearly pulled a Collingwood in the grand final and gave away their massive lead. It was almost like they just fell asleep and expected everything to happen. And then finally, things started to kind of shift Essendon's way a little bit. It wouldn't be
like Collingwood to give up a 5-goal lead, would it?
But things, it's almost like you could have taken even more momentum and kicked even more goals. And then Essendon got a little bit of a sniff and they just got the ball rolling a little bit. And then once they did that, and their confidence was up.
Once they got to work their game plan into it, because until half time it was all Collingwood.
Yeah, it was no game.
And 4 of their 5 goals were lucky at best. They had 2 goals from Stringer from outside 50 on the boundary line.
Yeah, freakish. Yeah.
Which great. Stringer can do that from time to time. But what are the chances of him hitting those goals? Danaher from outside from 60 out.
What are the chances of him dating a girl that's out of high school?
Pretty high, actually.
Yeah. You'd think so.
One of them was a bad free kick that shouldn't have been given. That the umpires have actually said, that wasn't a free kick. And then the other one was just a regular goal, which they deserved. So from 5 goals at halftime, they really should have only been on 1. And that would have then said, okay, the dominance of Collingwood, that was in state. But they were in there with a chance, and they earned their chance at the end. And I look, it was a lot closer than it said, but Collingwood were the better team on the day. So whatever.
Yep.
Pendlebury was definitely best on ground. 138.
38 disposals. He was very influential. When the game was on the line, his composure and his
the first 5 minutes of the last quarter, he literally said, "You're not going anywhere. This is my game. Get past me if you can."
He was very impressive, and I think Dylan Shield was impressive, except he butchered it and he wasn't composed, particularly when he had moments to win the game as well.
Yep.
So he butchered it a lot throughout the game. He was amazing though. He had a lot of disposals and he was very good for Essendon. But at the end of the day, that composure and that actual winning ability, Pendlebury 100%. And Chris, I know you've had your say because you got Collingwood bias over here, right? But here's the thing that I want to say: forget the umpires. Yes, the umpires up and down. It's an interpretation of the game. So many people are so angry. So many people, and I get that because you're so wound up and you are invested in this game, in this outcome. But at the end of the day, there are things. Anzac Day, that day in particular, you need to rise above the game and actually rise for the occasion. And for anyone that is upset by the umpiring, all I will say, and this is from an unbiased point of view, is that Essendon actually had a chance to win the game. And yes, things may have gone their way and they may have pulled off an amazing victory. Yes, that's fair enough. However, if you played that way for that second half for the entire game, Collingwood wouldn't have been nowhere near it.
It's true.
So, if you're blaming them for losing by a point, then really you should be blaming your whole team for not actually winning by 30 and not leaving it to chance. There's this middle part in the area. So I think if they played well enough, they could have easily won.
And at no point were Essendon even in the lead, so there's that. Anyway,
So there's
Dylan Shield.
So there's that.
Dylan Shield, great player. I think he might need to turn into the player that handballs rather than kicks. Because
the Treloar?
It was a problem at
he was good around goals at GWS.
No,
this year he can't kick for
unpressured. But when he's unpressured, running full pace, he has an issue. And I think that if he wants to be the best version of himself, he either A, needs to learn to kick, which is not. But at this stage, it's really hard to change your kicking style and to improve your kicking. So I would probably suggest he just probably needs to work into that guy that handballs like a Paddy Cripps. He knows his deficiencies. When he's open, he'll kick because he's unpressured and he's really good by foot when he does that. But a pressured kick for Cripps is a turnover ball. So he's that first handball received to someone on the outside like a Merritt. They have fantastic kicks in the Essendon team, and I think they need to utilise them a lot more.
Yeah, and their efficiency, like literally, Shield, 34 disposals, got 136 in Dream Team, kicked 2 behinds, right? And he only scored 93 in Supercoach.
Yeah.
Because he turned it over. Same as Merritt. Merritt had 30 disposals, 108 in Dream Team, only 87 in Supercoach.
Yep.
Yeah, so if they were actually more efficient with their use, then the Essendon forward line, which was dangerous, could have actually done a lot more.
Yeah, and I think it's great to see Danaher getting back into it. Kicking 4 goals, fantastic.
The only one on Collingwood that actually really butchered it was Dane Beams, who had 28 disposals and only had 67 Supercoach.
Constantly butchered.
And even then,
a lot of his kicks though were pressure kicks.
Yeah.
Where clearance kicks or from defence just bombing it long, correct. And he was just like, just get it out of here.
However, he was then Pendlebury was good. Treloar was actually really good by foot as well, and Adams, and Sidebottom. You're looking at 4 guys that actually delivered it well compared to 2 guys that were trying to hold the fort. Also news with Devon Smith has knee soreness in his other leg, so he had scans. I'm not quite sure what's happening with that at this stage. So opposite knee,
Devon Smith, but
he had a good year last year, but before that, he's had multiple years ruined by knee injuries.
Yeah, and I really hope that he does come back, and he might be a sneaky late season option.
Well, if he gets his body right
after the bye,
maybe,
mean he's cheap enough. I mean, let's have a look at what he's
been
especially
dropping.
After that 35, and we won't know how much he's going to drop, but we can guess. Let's have a look here. His break even was 119. He's priced at 480k, so he's probably going to go around 60 to 70k down. He'll be just over 400k, and if he has a couple of weeks off and comes back fully fit, he could really be a great upgrade target in the future, but not for right now. Just so we know. Alrighty, are you just checking?
Oh, I thought we were live.
No, we're not.
Unlucky.
All right, so the Friday night game, we did touch on it a little bit earlier, but Port versus North, and look, I didn't think this game was going to go any other way than what it did, to be completely fair.
It was interesting. I watched more of it than I actually would have liked in the end. I went to the gym and watched it there doing cardio.
You mean cardio?
Yeah, I don't speak Spanish. Well, it's a way to watch footy while not feeling guilty. I know, Ben Ashton was about 9 beers deep or 9 cans deep, asking me whether he should bring in Travis Boak, and I said, go for it.
Well, I think it's a good option. I mean, he got another 129, which means that he has, out of his 5 or 6 rounds, he's had 119 or better.
Pretty much.
Which is pretty amazing.
I think he went Brad Crouch to Boak because he had a lot of mids that were doing well in his midfield.
Yeah, I mean, my issue with bringing in someone like Boak is that he had a break even of 107, which means he's going to go up again, so it'll be up another 10k, or maybe even more.
He'll be 600, yeah.
He's going to be close to 600k this week, which means you're bringing him pretty much at peak price.
I don't understand. Someone told me today, but would you bring in, Fife? Would you bring in Neil? Would you bring in, Cripps and McRae? And I was like, but they started at 600k. You're talking about a guy who's already risen 120k and trying to buy him at peak price. I think if you don't have him,
you've got to. If that's the case, you've got to be like, okay, well, he's going to average 120k for the rest of the year.
120
for the rest of the year.
Which is ludicrous.
That's crazy.
Stupid.
That's crazy talk.
I can't see don't buy someone at the highest price, or your team will look horrible at the end of the year.
Having said that, he doesn't look like slowing down, and the addition of Rockcliffe to have He's getting the tag. He's getting the attention. He's getting the people drawn to him because he's in such good form.
But they haven't versed the best sides either.
Yeah, well, that's true. But I just do think that, I do think Port Adelaide can keep winning games.
Yeah, I think they'll I think their rookies have helped. However,
it's just the way the numbers is.
To say I reckon he can average 100 for the rest of the year, but I don't think he's going to average 120 for the rest of the year. So even then,
if you're right and it's 100, you're paying way too much. You need to be paying about 530.
And the thing that everyone needs to know when they are upgrading is that Port have the first buy. So I'm looking at Boak.
I am also looking at Boak
round 12.
At round 12, but
round 12 is their buy.
You got to remember that people are now looking to upgrade, and a lot of people have issues in their forward line, such as Gray, such as Dunkley potentially. Even though this week he had a decent round, a lot of people are looking at, or maybe they've held Toby Green all this time and then realize, wow, he is actually a dud. I need to upgrade, and the first one's probably going to be in your forward line. Boak is currently the guy that's probably not in your team that you want in your team. So I can see why people would want to, and I would not hold someone against them for doing it. I don't know how you get there, because you'd probably have to make 3 trades to get 600K.
I don't know how you get there either.
Because you don't have rookies, unless you're trading at mid-prices. So you might trade, say, a Libba to a Boak. That would be a good trade, because it's only $100,000 then. I can see that.
Even still, it's a lot of money. It's so much money.
Yeah. But, I mean, you could, with Boak being in mid-forward as well.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's a mid-forward, 100%. But at the same time, I'd rather get a Tim Kelly for $120,000 less.
With a similar
who I also think will average around 100 for the rest of the year.
Yeah, but then there's people out there that already have Tim Kelly. So then what are they doing? Are they going... You know what I mean? So I can see why you would get Boak in at this price. I wouldn't do it because you're sacrificing your F4 and your F5 and your F6.
Yeah, because you're spending so much.
Remember that, again, it's about cash and trades. So how much cash can you make? How many trades do you have?
How quickly you can get to a fully premium side. And if you're spending $600K, then you're going to sacrifice being a full premium, because you're going to have guys that'll have, they'll have a Tim Kelly and they'll have a Heaney, and you've got Boak and you've still got, like another rookie that you're trying to upgrade.
Yeah. So it is a balance, and really only your individual team will be able to tell you that. It's a weird time of the year to be spending that sort of money on a player.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to. You probably would have been banking cash. Here's why. So a lot of people have been banking cash. So they might have gone Butters to Ross last week, but not done an upgrade, and then they went someone else to Stack the week before.
Yeah.
So they've got this nest egg.
But yeah, they've got this nest egg, which is awesome. But then you've downgraded twice, and then you're gonna have to downgrade
so it's a free trader,
and then downgrade and upgrade to get to him. So that's 4 trades.
I think you could probably do it in 3, depending on who you were doing.
3 trades.
And I wouldn't be doing... I think you can probably hold your mid-prices maybe a little bit longer too, but it does depend on team to team. Someone like a Collins, I can see why you would do it. He's had 2 mediocre weeks without hitting his 80s anymore. I can see you wanting to move on to Collins. I'd probably be keeping someone like a Darcy Moore. It seems like he's going to be hitting that 75 to 80 every week.
Darcy Moore has, the last 2 weeks, has hit 50 at halftime and then done nothing.
Yeah, it's classic.
So he will have 100 at some point, because he will actually follow through. But I was saying Dave Swizzerlink again got really excited, and I was like, mate, just wait, because I think it was even maybe the week before that. So it could be 3 weeks running, for all I know, that he started off really well, like 47, 50, 47, I think, actually are his last 3 at halftime.
Yep.
Something like that, and then he's gone through and end up with like an 80, a 79, a 79, or
True.
So
now, someone to quickly bring up here in this Port team as well that had a role change in the weekend, and someone to take note of is Justin Westhoff.
Yeah, which could be a short-lived change, Chris.
It could be with Gray out so Gray is out for 3 to 4 weeks with a broken hand, so he needs surgery. He broke it in the game in the first quarter. Thank you very much, Gray. But even then, Gray was on like 25 or something before the last quarter. And he had 2 contested marks in the forward 50 with shots on goal. One of them from 30 metres away. Yeah. It dropped short. It's a contested. It's an intercept possession. I've just had a live follow.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
We'll touch base with that live follow. Thank you very much, whoever that is. So one was literally an intercept mark on the goal line, because he didn't make the distance from 30 out. The other 2, he marked another contested mark and another mark inside 50. He kicked it to other people to take the goals. One of them kicked the goal, one of them didn't. So he got a goal assist and then got nothing. Anyway, it was just really frustrating to watch Robbie Gray.
Dersma 84 actually did quite well. He had 24 disposals, which was good. So he could have been better, but his role is looking pretty good. He is quite secure in that side. Look, I think that's great. Rockcliffe was on 50 at quarter time or thereabouts and ended up with 100 flat.
He got locked down. And that's why Boak's getting off the chain.
Yeah, so look, that'll be interesting. So Robbie Gray, if he's out, who's going to play the more midfield role? We'll see.
Well, I'm hoping that means that it'll probably be a Zach Butters will get more mid-time.
It could be.
And it will mean someone like a Westhoff
And Butters is up and down, although I think he actually lost cash this week, so that'll be interesting to see. Let's move on because we're going to fly through these.
We are. And I just wanted to quickly just touching on Westhoff. So he's probably going to be bottom out this week, depending on his score next week. But he will go down another 10 or so K, and he'll be priced about 380. So someone that you could one trade to. It's a risky trade. I'm not sure that I would want to do that, and I wouldn't advise it. However, if you're in a pinch, you want an upgrade, he's a ruck cover option for the whole year. If you've got something like a Patrick Bynes as well.
Yeah.
So I don't hate the decision, and I was looking at him anyway before the Robbie Gray news. I just hope that I had a little bit more information before I made the decision to bring him in. I was actually hoping to get him in like 3 weeks' time, not now. So I wanted to go early on a Kelly or something similar.
Yep. And Whitfield.
Again, I think we're just going to skip North because North is shit and there's nothing relevant about North players at all.
No, Higgins out.
Yeah.
Goldstein.
96, whoop-de-doo.
Yeah. Pittard got absolutely booed hard out, which he was giving away as steak knives, although I think he put a bit of a hit on someone and that's why they were booing him.
He wasn't even in the Port 22 last year, man. He was in and out of the squad.
And I think he kind of put a hit on someone, so the crowd was really dirty on him. Let's move on. Brisbane and the Suns, because we've been spending too much time.
Should we start with the highlight of the week, in my opinion? That goal from Neil.
Oh, it was huge.
He gets the clearance, kicks it inside 50, Mark on the lead, gets a handball receive, and then from outside 50, just bombs it into...
Well, the thing, before that, so the game was literally like basically tied. The game was actually tied up after halftime. Some people are kind of... I was doing a little chat with the A-team, bit of a chat group, and I think he was on like just over 50. I think he pushed up to 60. Everyone's like, oh, Neil's like on 60. He's not going to hit that 150 that you said, hey, Ben. I was like, yeah, just wait for it. That quarter went absolutely ham. So he had kicks it, gets the ball, kicks it inside 50. Charlie Cameron kicks a goal. Gets the ball, kicks it inside 50. Lion kicks a goal. Gets the ball, kicks it in, gets the handball, kicks the goal. So he went he just gone bang, 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 and literally turned the game. So the biggest point influence you can have, because it's gone from even to taking the swing, completely gone from the Suns.
Yep.
And his points just went up to like 119.
Yeah, he had actually a quiet last quarter.
Yeah,
and then had 20 points or something. Yeah,
it was it 109 or 111, and then didn't do too much. Did enough, but and that's what happens though when you kick it inside 50. So I was actually racking up all the points. I did a bit of analysis between him and Cornelio. You know, like yes, he kicked more goals, but then Neil had intercepts. Like he had 3 more intercepts. I'm like, well, there's 24
Again,
points.
it's about what you do with your disposal as well, and where you get your disposal.
And everything adds up. More tackles, more intercepts. Yeah. More score assists and everything. It all adds up. So
did you know that Jared Berry is now? He might be averaging about 100 now. He was averaging 95.4 before the weekend, and then hit a 119.
Okay, so he's probably averaging like a 98, 99.
Man, I thought he was going to be averaging low to mid 90s.
Yeah, 100%.
So I've got him in multiple draft teams, as you know.
As I know.
But he is having a fantastic year, and I think that he's going to be someone's going to be SuperCoach relevant probably from next year onwards.
Even though he's had a horrible game this round, but Bose was my smoky. I actually told the guy in our 12-man draft league for the very, very last pick of the draft to pick Bose because he was my smoky option.
Yep.
And I didn't take my own advice, and in the end I ended up with like Hanbury and Hall.
True.
Yeah, go figure. So
can Daniel Rich maintain this level of scoring 116, and he's averaging 100 already, which means he's probably averaging about 105 right now.
He can maintain
103.
A 95 to 100 because no one's paying any attention to him.
That means that he's top 10.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
So who has the balls to jump on the Rich train?
Not me. He'll have a 40 at one week. He's having a 40.
No, it don't matter anyway. You can rely on your old man's money. No? Okay. I think you were sort of getting into it. I like it. Look, I really like Daniel Rich. I'm just glad that he's actually got a role that is working for the team.
Well, and he's taking kickouts away from Jeez.
Witherden.
Yes,
he is. Guaranteed.
Taking kicks away from him. So we all thought Witherden was actually going to be averaging 95 or whatever. And in the end, it's Rich. Go figure. So maybe he's
glad I didn't start with Witherden because he was in most of the preseason. He was in my teams.
In and out of mine, but I think old man Rich is like, I'm the veteran here, son. I'm taking these kickouts, and
fair enough. The other one that I was hot on in preseason was Dane Zorko, and he seems to be...
He's played forward a lot. He got a little bit in midfield in this one, straight away.
Only averaging 90, and he had a poor score of 76, so he's going to go down from that.
I know, but tough. Last year he went really big in the back end of the year. Although my theory is they're not as reliant on him. The improvement on Berry...
Well, they've got Lockie Neal now as well.
Exactly, but even then they had, Beams and whatever have you anyway. Mm-hmm. But you look at, I think, Berry, McCluggage... these are the young guys coming in. Lions.
McCluggage is roll goal when he gets the ball.
And Lyon as well. So you get three guys that have come in or improved. They don't need Zorko in the midfield as much. So
now someone that did impress me, rookie at the Lions, Noah Ainsworth. And
very good.
We did touch on him in the preseason as someone who will probably get games this year, and they love him at the Lions.
Yeah, 69 from 12 disposals.
And had a lot of intercept marks in that. And the third quarter... He was one that stood up when the Gold Coast thought they might get a little run on.
Yeah,
sorry, mate, I'm over here.
I'm hoping he actually stays. I really do hope he stays. So I'm just trying to look at those that might go out instead of him. That's going to be the only issue, though, is when Harris Andrews comes back, what their mix looks like.
Yeah, especially with Josh Walker playing so well as well.
Exactly, different players, but it'll be interesting to see how many games he plays.
Very, very
Keep an eye on him. From the Suns, I was actually really impressed with Corbett. Only kicked a couple of goals, so 2 goals for Corbett, both in the second quarter. Ended up with 55, so...
It's a lot better than his old mate, Chris Burgess.
Yeah, but he got highly talked about for his work ethic. He worked really hard both ways, and he kicked straight from his 12 opportunities. My only concern is he had to kick 2 goals to get his 55. I guess it's like Parker in a way, but he's going to have games where he won't kick any goals and he's not going to score. And at the same time... That's
any forward.
But and he also kicked 2 straight.
Yep.
What if he kicks 2 behinds? Then he probably only gets you like a 30 or a 27 or whatever, so he's not going to make cash on that. So he is very risky, but again, I was impressed with how he went. So
Sam Collins would have made you a little bit more cash, but it looks like he's just about to run dry unless he can reignite with another 80 or so soon.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually thought this game would play into his hands a lot, but they weren't really. And he even took some kickouts and stuff to even inflate his price.
He did.
So it was
he had his moments where he dominated the ball.
But it wasn't. They didn't feed it into him.
No.
They didn't bomb it onto the head. And if they did, they actually made sure they crashed the pack with at least 3 guys.
Yeah.
To really nullify.
Again, I think a lot of work goes into Sam Collins for
it's funny though.
Crazy reason, which is just amazing.
Absolutely crazy.
Which is good.
So Neil 142. Robinson actually got named best on 125. So if anyone actually has him, he went huge. Kicked 3 goals, 1. He was a bit scratchy in parts, but geez, I'll tell you what, he got on the end of a few, and he hits it hard like always. So
great in my draft team.
Look, I think that's pretty much all we touch on from those.
Yep, definitely.
The Suns, I think Fiorini again is a good option.
Can be
for
really
drafts.
good, yeah.
And I think we just move on. So we
do.
need to...
On to Adelaide and the Saints. So good game. Sort of
really got flipped after half time.
It did, and look, Saints could have always sort of snatched it until a time. Then Adelaide kicked away late, but there was always that moment that they could have just shifted and they could have got that goal and then got back into the game. And it just never really came for them. They were always just that one step behind Adelaide. But Adelaide had to work hard for their win. It wasn't a rollover at all, even though it looks like, and it was 29 points at the end of it. It was definitely not a rollover, that's for sure. I do like that Rory Laird returned to form, obviously with a 124. Doing a thumbs up.
Wally just said SuperCoach is open, so.
Excellent.
Thumbs up for you, mate. I think you'd know what I mean.
So Rory Laird, obviously with the 124. That's purely, I think, with Miller out comes Rory Laird.
Plus, the Saints do like to play a bit of an open style as well.
That's true.
Generally speaking, like they like to kind of.
And they also like to possess the ball in their back half.
Yep.
So when they're doing that, it allows the opposition to do that as well.
Yep.
However, I do think that if you want Rory Laird, you've probably got to get him this week before the buys. So this is the last chance I think you're going to be able to upgrade to Rory Laird for the buys, because how long is Miller out for? 4 to 5 weeks or 4 to 6 weeks?
Something like that, yeah. And he'll be back around the buys.
Literally around the buys, and then that will probably impact
and
him coming
he's pretty
back
much
in.
bottomed in price now with this good round. I think his break even was like 102 or something like that.
Yeah, he's down to 520. He's got a 104 break even, which means he's going to go up in cash.
Going up.
So he'll probably go up about 10k, which will mean him about 530. If you refresh
it might actually work out, Chris.
Let's do that.
If you refresh, let's see if everyone can see this live. Break even, it'll have to be like 80 odd, wouldn't it? Surely. Oh, it's gone back to
No, I think it worked.
It's gone back. Yeah, I mean, it's gone back all the way. Yeah. Brad Smith, though, 103 is another ton for Brad Smith. It's funny, he actually scored really well in quarter 2 and quarter 4. Started off pretty horrible. Third quarter didn't do much, and in quarters 2 and 4, he pretty much, I reckon, would have made about 70 points. Yeah, 2-quarter man.
That's true. I'm going to sign out this quickly.
Okay, fair enough.
And then I'll log back in.
Okay, so I think this game was actually really influenced by Tex Walker. If he didn't have a good game and kick 4 goals too...
at least at the start of the season, though, it's really important that Tex does play well for them, to be able to win.
And he hasn't played that well, except for the last couple of weeks. He's sort of started to turn some momentum. So he was very important and very influential. I think you look at, Akers didn't score too well. Longer actually was a late replacement. So we actually cracked up for Marshall, posted it. I messaged this guy specifically. And I know a few people...
I did enjoy that.
Yeah, and it was a laid out that some people didn't actually get to really change him or do anything.
It hasn't updated for me.
Okay, well, that's okay. No one cares about you, Chris.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Savage did well. Seb Ross did well for a couple of weeks running now. Steele, 89, so he's really probably hurting those that haven't have him. So he hasn't actually worked out for you at all this year. Billington got an 81, so not bad. That's probably his base level in a loss.
Look, for him to get that in a 5-goal loss...
I think that's a great... I mean, Gresham in a loss gets a 65, and he's been averaging amazingly.
Again, he's raised his floor, increased his ceiling. I think Billings is still a decent option, so I wouldn't be too upset if you're trading him in.
No, an 81
is fine.
Good. Yep. I think you're not upset there.
Seb Ross on a bit of a heater, so you got a 130 last week or something, and then a 118.
Yeah.
So he's coming back into form, which is good for him.
It is good for him. O'Brien, 88. He has gone just consistent, bang like a 90 and
Hasn't
88.
hit below an 84 is his lowest score, isn't it?
His price has jumped up big time, and again, I wish I could use him in my forward line, which would actually help me out a lot. So,
agreed. So Brodie Smith, I think, just to quickly touch on, can't trade him out. He's actually a top 10 defender right now.
Really?
So if you're looking to trade him out, I would not be doing that.
What's he averaging? 95?
Let's have a look.
Break even at 24. My God, that's good.
His average, 92, but with his 104, he'd be averaging 95.
No, that's
his average score.
Oh, right, round 5. So you're still hasn't updated.
So this is without the up. So I mean, you could work it out. 460 plus 103 divided by 5. What's that?
That's all right. We'll wait. Because it's already quarter 2. Let's move on to Sydney and GWS. 2 laid outs for this one. Franklin and...
I think that was always happening. I think they both knew it. And Phil Davis as well.
Well, here's the funny thing. I think Phil Davis probably didn't want to play, but they felt like he had to play. And then they're like, oh...
They're probably both underdone. So they're like, we'll play him if you play him. And then they're like, oh, yeah.
And then Phil Davis pulls out. And then straight after that, they're like, oh, Phil Davis is out. Sweet. Franklin, you're out. With a minor hamstring tear, apparently.
They probably had a handshake deal behind tables.
I reckon they did.
Look, they're both injured. We could play this, but, whatever.
Yeah.
All right,
let's just get them both out. It'll be good for both of our clubs.
You know what was the best thing about this night? Watching Zach Williams absolutely tear it up.
Oh, especially after Whitfield went bang. Williams was so good. And he hit
for those
targets.
who don't know,
Amazing.
I didn't watch the game. Whitfield suffered a really bad corky in the first quarter.
Huge.
He was actually on about 25 SuperCoach. He literally didn't play for, I think, a quarter and a half. And then they put him back on at full forward to see if they could get something out of him. He managed to kick a goal and get his score up to 45, I think he ended on. Let's double check that.
Yeah, Whitfield. Oh, he had 79% time on ground, Chris. Kicked 2 goals. 2 goals, but literally just hobbled around, not doing much. You could noticeably he was in pain.
Yeah, there was a point just before half time where they just put him back out on the ground and he's trying to chase after someone and they just ran straight past him and he just couldn't he couldn't do anything.
The problem with this game is that GWS had so many possessions, like literally pulled the possession game huge. So Taranto, Williams, Kelly, Cameron, Hopper, Mumford, DeBoer, Shaw, Cornelio all went over 100. And then you got Haynes, Tomlinson in the 90s. So, Toby Green kicks 3 goals, only ends up with a 79.
Yep.
And people are wondering why Cornelio only gets a 103.
Yeah,
It's
there
because
wasn't much extra scaling because there were so many high scores.
so many possessions.
Yep.
You know, all of those people there, you're looking at 21 to 30 possessions,
Yep.
going absolutely nuts. Lloyd, again, got another 107, so nice and consistent.
Lloyd actually, even though he didn't actually have that many possessions, what he did with his possessions this time, which is unusual for Lloyd, instead of having 37 and getting them all uncontested, he got quite a few intercept possessions.
And contested because the ball was actually on him for the start of the game.
Exactly.
So, which was interesting that someone would actually run straight to him. It would affect their game style. But
interestingly, didn't do shit.
No.
Like...
He got less ball, but... Still.
So I think if De Boer can't stop you, Lloyd's the first person that's run through a De Boer tag. So if De Boer can't stop you, is he going to get tagged this year, do you reckon?
Probably not now.
Probably not now. He's just gone and proved that I can beat the best tagger in the AFL right now. So
yeah, they kind of look at that. JPK got 32 disposals. So this game was decided basically through that midfield. I mean, you look at Cornelio kicked 4 goals. Taranto kicked a goal. Kelly kicked 1 goal, 2. Hopper kicked a behind. De Boer kicked 1 goal, 1. You know, so you look at those guys, and then Toby Green pretty much decided it. Cameron kicked 3.
Yep.
They spanked Sydney, which was always going to happen.
So
Sydney are literally really struggling this year.
We're still on Josh Kelly watch, and
I am on Josh Kelly.
That's
watch.
the most important thing that's come out of this. So he's
116.
He's had these games. So his games are rich. He's gone through Richmond, Geelong, and Freo. His scores are 95, 114, and 97 over those.
And then
averaging 102 and then 116. So he's probably averaging about, let's say, 107, 108 right now.
Yeah, he's kind of floating. But their draw coming up, GWS have the best draw. Like,
It's true.
I would seriously, if I had the cash, I would go Liberatore.
He's going to be about 580 after today, and then I think he's going to naturalise. So his standard deviation every game is really low. What that means is that it's usually somewhere between 90 to 120 is where he scores every single week.
And then he will throw in a 160 to 180.
And then he goes bang.
And seriously, if you are interested in anyone from GWS, have a look at their draw for the next 6 to 8 rounds. They are going to absolutely blow people away.
We can have a look at them right here if you want.
Okay,
so
wonderful.
We've got Saints, Hawks, Carlton, Melbourne, GWS, Adelaide, North,
Gold Coast.
Essendon.
Not GWS, they are GWS.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
So
Gold Saints, Hawks, Carlton, Melbourne, Gold Coast, Adelaide, North, Essendon, Brisbane. So many Supercoach relevant
Even
games.
Essendon and Brisbane give up a lot of points.
Well, Brisbane do,
Supercoach
yeah,
wise.
100%.
Yeah.
And Adelaide aren't at their best at this point in time. North certainly aren't. Gold Coast, he scored 200 nearly last year. So he is a great option to get in.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I would do.
And
If I had Libba,
low owned.
I'd be going straight to Josh Kelly.
Well, not only that, you're going from a guy that's 50% owned to a guy that's less than 5. Or 5 or less, I think he is.
And I think I don't know. In my opinion, I think he's pretty much guaranteed to be top 10 at the very least.
Well, he's not going to get you a 60, I'll tell you that.
Nah, he's just too good. I mean, do you see him running down the wing or in the pocket? And he's like, oh, has a look, chucks it on his left foot, banana straight through from 30 metres on the boundary.
No, he's good.
Mate, the guy's a jet.
So many good things. Yeah, Zach Williams, 121. I reckon we just move on.
Moving on. I've already flipped
so many
over.
good games.
I'm actually waiting for you, bro.
And because they won as well, it's going to be actually really hard for Haitley to get a game after that.
Nah, but with
Depends on
Cornelio,
or if he doesn't play though.
Yeah, I think he will, but
it's just a dislocated finger. So
and then you've got Whitfield as well, so you might roll into that.
Maybe if they rest him, but then it depends on how long they're out as to whether you can pick him anyway.
Well, you won't be picking Haitley this week anyway, but you will.
No, I know, but even then he's going to be an inflated price for a guy that might not keep his role. That's the issue. Next one is the Freo and the Bulldogs.
Yeah, so I watched this game as well.
Interesting, this game.
Yeah, it was a good game. I mean, Nat Fyfe, did Nat Fyfe things.
He was huge.
Bevo didn't put enough attention into Nat Fyfe, I don't think.
No.
He was running around on his own pretty much for most of the game, and no one really gave a shit. They really just tried that whole midfield versus midfield thing, and they got towed.
Their midfield was horrible this round.
The Bulldogs' midfield got absolutely shredded. They couldn't win a contested possession to save their life.
Yeah, and they had so many good players.
Yep.
So it was absolutely outstanding. Libar, Bont, McRae, Dunkley was pretty much playing forward a lot when I saw him in the. I watched mainly the second half of this one. Played forward heaps. What
I actually would say is that I think that their outside ball movement was really shocking. So apart from Lockie Hunter, there was not really many others that could find space. McRae couldn't really find too much space. They burnt him a lot of times for a handball receive. Again, they just keep, for whatever reason, it must be game plan. It's the only thing I can think of. It's get it in there quickly because they don't have the tools. So Norton was switched behind the ball. I saw McLean playing more, on the ball.
Yeah, McLean
and
improved.
Dunkley was actually playing literally out of a square. So even though he got a good score, his
Yeah.
role's worse.
It didn't look very good.
His role is worse than it was last week. So
It didn't look very good.
which is like completely contradictory to what we said, which is, they're going to play Bunt out of the square and then they're going to get Dunkley into the midfield.
Yeah.
Nah. Have you heard of Bevo? Bevo doesn't like to do things that make sense.
Dunkley got 82 in fantasy, 93 in Supercoach because he just got lucky with his disposal.
Well, I wouldn't say lucky,
no,
but
as
he was
playing,
strong in the air.
Playing that much forward,
Yeah.
yeah, he was definitely strong. He wasn't getting beaten.
Provided a good contest, but I mean...
However, it doesn't fill me with confidence going forward.
I get that they don't have Shaki and Boyd, and both of them are basically duds anyway, but I think they threw all their eggs into that.
Yeah.
So they went and recruited like their draft picks and everything based on the fact that they're going to have a number one player in Tom Boyd, who's going to be playing at full forward, and a number 2 pick player in Josh Shaki, who's going to play centre half forward.
Yep.
They don't have either of those, and they're struggling. They're on struggle street.
And they're probably paying them both a bucket.
Again, they won the inside 50s, and they lost the game.
Yeah, I think Boyd should be nearly coming back now. I think he started playing some seconds. So
mate,
I think they need him. I really do. I think they need him more than Shaki for sure. Can we just touch on Caleb Daniel? 30 disposals, played 92% time on ground.
He's
Another
really
100. I hate it though.
Look at his standard deviation.
He's the guy that you shouldn't pick, but that you feel like you have to because you kind of have to.
He looks like he's almost certain for a top 10 spot in forward line.
How crazy is that though?
Look at his standard deviation though. So he's gone 104, 120, 96, 93, 100, 102.
Yeah, I know.
So his lowest score was a 93.
Yeah, I know. Painful.
Now, it's good and bad. So right now he's at a point where...
What is he, like 550?
No, he's under that. He's only at 478 because he started so low, so he's still building cash. So he's probably my likely candidate for Robbie Gray this week. I'm probably going to go Caleb Daniel.
I'd rather him over Dunkley.
Well, he's in, let's see how many sides he's in as well. He's in 4% of teams, so he's really unique. He's averaging 102, playing in the forward line. He's got knowing
me, I'll bring him in.
Break even. He would have gone up a little bit this week, but not too much. He's probably still going to be about 485k, so he'll be under 500k. He's primed for an upgrade target.
Yeah,
I love him. I think there's no reason. Like the other thing is the ball that he gets is cheap ball, so he gets a lot of it. Yes, but a lot of it's free ball from kicks out of the takes a kick in. Sorry. He's also that go-to guy behind the ball.
So because he makes good decisions.
He's the quarterback. He's the Jake Lloyd.
Yeah, they're giving it to him, that's for sure.
So you don't need to worry about the fact where he needs the team to be playing well for him to score well, which I think really bodes well for him. With everyone else in the Dogs team, pretty much, apart from maybe Jack McRae, you're relying on the team playing well and the system or Bevo. Now, the one thing, of course, that could obviously hinder all of that is if they change his role at some time. And I did make a rule earlier in the year.
Don't pick Bevo's players?
That I wasn't going to be picking any more
except
Dogs
for McRae.
players.
Yep. And that's fair, because
So-
that could happen at any point. You don't know.
Congrats to David Mundy on 300 ridiculously awesome games and ending games with those. He's had 3 kicks after the siren to finish your game.
He's had a few. And this game, Fremantle really kicked away, and Dogs kind of clawed their way back in and nearly got right in it. Really close in the end, so they didn't give up, which is classic Dogs. But Fremantle again proving that they do have the scoring capabilities.
They do.
And it's funny, Hogan just seems to, even if he's not directly...
Gee, I wonder what... Yeah, when you get this great forward for no reason and people just give it to you and apparently he's just okay.
Anyone that tries to change who he is, stop him from getting on the tinnies or whatever he does. Just let him be.
Have a word with Dan Hanbury, see how that goes.
Yeah, exactly. Right? It's kind of like you go back to old school football where... hey, if you want to be like Tony Lockett and you want to be a big boy and be a pisshead or whatever, just do whatever.
As long as you work on the field,
do whatever keeps you happy, and let's hope we can win some footy games.
If you're performing on field, it shouldn't matter what you do on your after hours.
Fremantle have surprised me at this point.
All right, now on to the next game, Hawthorn Carlton. So I got out of the cinema and I was like, whoa, I did not expect it to be this close. So, did you watch the game today?
I watched a lot of it.
Yep.
Hawthorn weren't very great. Carlton were actually doing really well by picking apart Hawthorn defence. So
I saw that early on, Carlton were dominating, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. It was, at halftime 50-20. Before that, it was even more. Like, Carlton were doing really well, and they weren't falling into the trap of Hawthorn defence, so they weren't really settling. Hawks defence wasn't settling very well. Scrimshaw was on like 49 at halftime, mind you.
And he ended on like 62.
Yeah, did nothing. Absolutely nothing. He sat on like 55 or whatever. Basically, the minute I started watching more of the game, because I was kind of paying attention for the first half, watched the second half, and basically from the minute I actually really started watching, I didn't even notice him. Wasn't even there. From there, though, after halftime, Hawks just came out, bang, 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 and you're like, oh, shit, like, here it comes. They're just getting on this massive roll. Carlton then were like, oh. So instead of actually giving, like, the first half, they were giving the handball over and actually running it, and then Hawks' defence was going, like, absolutely scattered. They'd go, instead of giving the handball to then run and then actually create and really cause some, like, anarchy, they'd get the ball here, and instead of giving it, they'd just then kick it long, and it just played right into the Hawks' hands. They'd kick it long. The ball would come to ground, then Hawks would go back to the quarterback, switch over here, la 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 la, and then they just get scored against.
It looked like to me, based on the stats, after I read after half the time, that Hawks probably possessed the ball, because if you look at Sicily, 127, that's, I think, his best score of the season. I was actually worried about this game going into it, because with the lineups, the ins and outs that they had, I thought they might throw Sicily forward, but they're proving that time and time again, they just want Sicily behind the ball. So why mess with people? This is what's annoying, because I had Sicily all preseason.
Yeah.
I literally took him out the week of round one, and I did that because I was too scared that his role would change after everything that happened in the preseason.
Don't play your shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
I know, it's just really annoying.
He's going really well. That's not the way to play. Yeah, he is. His score really got inflated in the second half when Carlton started to actually kick long a bit more. So he was really influential. Funnily enough, though, you look at Warple, ended up on 82. He started off horrible.
Oh,
could not get near it. I think he was on like single digits first quarter, 20 at halftime.
Yeah.
And then came out with like a 60-point second half. He was huge in the second half, and he couldn't get anywhere near it in the first half. Probably him and Scrimshaw pretty much did an absolute reversal as far as scoring went. Howe really did a number tagging Cripps, and it was interesting. So Sam Walsh actually started off pretty well, and then he still got around it. But his scoring, I think that's probably his base, though, anyway. You're looking at 80.
I'm okay with it, whatever.
Yeah, Sam Walsh, 79, so I'm okay with that.
I mean, in a game where Dale Thomas is your highest scoring player on 113, and might say a little bit about how they played, to be fair.
Ed Kernow finally having a good game. But the thing that you'll notice with Walsh is they have the last bye, so you can hold him all the way up to the bye.
Yeah, you will.
When it's his bye, you can either then look to change him, or
if you want to... He's not going to leak cash, is he? He's not going to leak...
Well, he's going to get to 400 so quick, but
he's
you think
already
he's
over
going to
400, bro.
I know, that's what I mean. He got to 400 so quick, so you think he's going to actually try and stabilize from here.
He's probably going to be about 450 at the end of this round.
Yeah, well, yeah,
it's decent.
It is, but it's if he starts to leak cash, you might have to move him earlier. But you'd expect him to hold.
I reckon that'll happen.
No, and I think he'll still have some more 118 games, etc. I think he'll be like the Tim Kelly of last year. You just kind of hold him until the buys, and then if you want to move him on, then you can move him on.
Has the Nick Newman experiment failed?
Yes.
Big question. So, we'll go through his scores. He scored a 57 today. His average to this day was 92, which is respectable.
Yeah, well, all inflated from his first game. He has had a couple of good games since. Simpson went down at halftime. Cade Simpson. Newman was on absolute piss all as well at halftime.
It's true.
Simpson didn't emerge after halftime. He was then on the bench in his jacket and apparently had hamstring tightness.
Wow, so they took him off for tightness.
Yeah, they took him off for tightness, which means that he's pretty much done like a hamstring strain by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
35, which means Cade Simpson's going to be dropping cash like no tomorrow, but he is an old man.
He's already dropping cash like no tomorrow.
I know, and now he's got a 35, so he's going to be like 400k and dropping easily.
Look, Nick Newman is averaging 86.5, including this week.
Okay.
And what I'll say about that is that's pretty much where I thought he would average for the season.
Yeah. With Simpson out there, he could be a bit better.
So I don't necessarily see him as a failed pick, but I do think that other people thought that he would be top 6, top 10.
People that brought him in after round 1 would have had to expect he was going to be
top 10. I saw him as a stepping stone. And that's, I mean, when I looked at my team, I went, I think Zach Williams has a higher chance of being top 10 than than Nick Newman, and that's why I went,
Yeah.
Williams over Newman. I don't know if that's going to be right at the end of the year, because 2 weeks ago I would have happily, when Williams was at 60, I would have happily gone Williams to Whitfield if I had the cash.
Yeah, 100%.
But that's proved to be the
Now
best non-move
I
ever.
know. Now it's worked out really well.
So,
and a lot of people
I'm
were
pretty happy about that.
looking to trade. And with Smith, we did say to hold because that game was his 68 was just not efficient.
Yep.
Let's go with Sam Petrovsky-Seton. Got a 74, but he got 91 in fantasy, which is funny as because he kicked a goal. 74 in SuperCoach, and he played 87% time on ground. So his time on ground is up there for you, Chris, but his average will be dropping.
I noticed when I was in the previews that he'd already had 5 possessions.
Dropping.
But he only had 14 SuperCoach.
Yeah.
So it must have been a lot of uncontested stuff early.
Gibbons was actually really low on at halftime as well and ended up with a 51. So he actually would have been
That's a decent score.
helping. I think he got up the ground a little more in the second half. Didn't help. Carlton actually really fought their way back into the game. I thought they were toast. The minute that Hawthorn leveled, I thought that Carlton were absolutely toast. And then they went and kicked a couple goals and actually had a lead. Hawthorn then kicked another couple goals and took the lead back again. It was actually a really interesting last quarter.
Fair enough.
It was.
Now, I will shout out our lovely people that have followed us during the last hour or so.
Yes.
Kimbo Slice 18, Michael 6600, and Ty Ray. Thank you very much for following us.
And also thank you to the random person, whoever you are, Custard is your name, who donated $7 for being moist. That's literally it. Custard donated $6.99 or $7, and it just says moist.
Thank you very much. It's probably $5 US, and that's why it's an odd number.
I get you now.
Yeah.
So
thank you for the donation. It always helps. I mean, that'll cover basically. It'll go towards some beers. That's pretty much what it does.
Well, the cost of
Yeah, running the. Well, I mean, it's all the same because we're going to drink anyway. So
that is true.
Thank you very much.
The last game is.
I watched the end of this, and it looked like. Oh, I'll tell you what. Well, firstly, I had a look at the scores, and then I went, "Wow, look at that! Look at that ridiculous smashing."
Yep.
And look, I never thought that West Coast could win down at Cardinia Park, but dude, what West Coast is turning up week to week. Week to week, they're turning up different squads now. I don't understand what's happened to the West Coast of last year.
They got flogged. They really missed Barris in defence.
Well, it's showing how important he is, isn't it?
It is. I think at Carlton's home ground, they were really switched on. Absolutely, 100% freakish.
You mean Geelong's home ground? So
yeah, Geelong's home ground. So here's the
they're
thing.
always good at Cardinia Park. So
it's a narrow field. So I wasn't expecting Petrotelli to score well at all because he can't get out the back. It's a narrow field. You're in each other's pockets.
Yep.
Yeah. So he only had a few disposals, kicked a goal, was lucky to get his 40 or whatever he ended up with. I was happy knowing. So I knew I was taking that low score. He actually got quite lucky to get that in the end. But I was adding that score to his last week's 100 to kind of average out what I would get while Setterfield is obviously not on the field. So, but yeah, Tim Kelly actually did quite well. Don't think he caught much attention at all, to be honest. Dangerfield clanged big time. I think he actually had a bit more attention, but I did miss the first half.
He did, yeah. Well, so I watched most of the second half, and Danger just turned the ball over way too much. He had a really nice junk time goal to take his score to 94. Last minute of the game, he gets a contested possession, knock on, and kicks a banana from the pocket to get 94. So
first quarter he wasn't on much, 20% disposal efficiency. By the end of the game, it was like 54% disposal.
Yeah, so he got better as the game went on.
Definitely got better as the game went on, but a lot of the Geelong team absolutely towed up. When I was looking at the scores, I think it was like partway through the final quarter. I think it was like final quarter maybe. Petrotelli was only on 28, and he had 8 West Coast guys with less SuperCoach scores than him, which is absolutely ridiculous. Geelong had so many just toweling up the points. Ablett went absolutely nuts. Ended up with 28 disposals, 2 goals, 1, 90% time on ground, which I think is a good stat for him, being on the ground more. Fantasy people can't wait, I think, for him to go forward next week in that change. I think that's very likely. But he turned it back big time and kicking.
Oh, it looks like they've updated, by the way.
Yeah, well,
all these are round 6 stats now,
that's
so they're
better.
right in there.
That's much better.
Okay.
Stanley had a good game, but again, he was against Hickey, who also scored well, so it was kind of like tit for tat there. Hawkins 119, so he's gone big. Duncan was the big one, 116. Stewart actually got another 98, so he's still averaging really well in the high 90s, I believe. So
Stuart's going well.
the ones we do need to note are Constable got a 79, so still good for him, ticking along.
Let's have a look and see if we can get Constable's break even now. So
37.
He's still got a decent break even, 37. He's gone up to 303,000, which is fantastic for
great.
Charlie. So he's up 170 grand. He's made a hell of a lot of cash.
Looks
He's
like
got
he's
a
a
little bit more
couple
to
of
go.
weeks away, to be honest.
Well, it's still projected to go up with a score of 81 next week, which is projected score. He'll go up another 20k. So
Yeah.
definitely worth holding on to for another week at least.
I think their draw gets easier, Geelong too, so I wouldn't be surprised if he actually made a few more tons coming down the line. So
Yeah, definitely worth it for Charlie, and good on him.
Atkins got a 47. He
have-
was on bugger all too for most of the game. So
He was moved into the
he moved
midfield
up.
late.
I know, he moved up
and
late,
got a
some
couple
marks
tackles,
and
got some
tackles.
got some clearances.
No, he did well. Late.
Still has a low break even of 25. He's at 232,000 now, so decent cash.
Yeah, not bad.
Might want to hold him for one more week and then see how you go.
Depending on what gets named this week, I am with you.
That's true. And I just want to highlight a couple of things. First of all, let's have a look at Kelly, because I think he will be
86,
a massive...
so he dropped cash. He got an 86 and his break even was a low hundreds, remember?
Yeah,
Tim
Kelly, yeah. So let's have a look at what it is. I think it'll normalise this week, and I think if you want to get Tim Kelly, this has to be the week that you do it. What's happening here? Oh, wait, that's Zach Tui, not Tim Kelly.
Close.
Same thing.
Here he is.
All right, so break
Ooh.
even of 62, so that's completely
Wowee.
gone. So he's
He's
going back
bottomed
up
out.
this week. He's bottomed out, 476k. I don't think you're going to get him any cheaper than that. I think he's pretty much a must-have this week if you don't have him. So that's the one that you're probably going to want to get in this week.
Yep.
Tim Kelly, I don't think there's really much else to say about
There's
that.
not much else to say about
I think
that.
most people will want to have him in. And the one that I also want to highlight is Elliot Yeo, because I think that he's a massive trade-in target as well. So with that 116, he now has a break-even 100. He's actually gone back up in price. He's now at 520k. And he's finally got a little bit of consistency into his season. So his last few games, he's netted. So he went 114, 86, 116. I do think that you can probably expect around about that 108 to 112 average for the rest of the season for him. However,
It is risky.
it is risky, but I think that's the whole thing with Gaff coming back. It completely changed his role. He's getting a lot less attention. Gaff's getting the main attention there. Gaff with the 76 here as well.
Yo's goal was actually really good late.
Yeah,
late,
kicked
late
it on
in
the
fourth.
run. Yeah, it was great.
It was actually a really good cracking goal. Dom Sheed, though, only 72 Supercoach from 20 disposals.
Yep.
The Dom Sheed has failed. If you haven't moved him on, bank your price and
Do it.
move him on.
Move him on, upgrade him if you can. I think
Yes.
that's a very important thing to do this week.
Darling, again, another 22. So his combined scores, what's that, 31 for 2 weeks?
Oh, I don't even
He's
want...
got to be cheap.
Darling,
he has
he's
to
gotta be
be
cheap.
absolutely cheap. Dirt cheap.
Jack
Stupidly.
Darling. Oh, wait. That's not Jack Darling.
He's got to be so cheap.
The internet's playing funny bug. It's probably a Supercoach site, to be fair. Here we go.
Break even of 101.
That's
Shannon
Hearn.
still.
It's not loading. Let's have a look at him while we're here, though. So 101.
He is a good option.
He's gone up 60k. He's now 586, so he's still quite high. I think there are other priorities outside of him. He's in 11% of teams. He's in way more teams than I thought he was. Shannon Hearn.
Well, I know a few people have actually jumped ship to him, so that makes sense. He's a good upgrade option.
Yep, definitely.
Okay, well, let's bring up some break evens and that kind of thing.
Yeah, let's do that.
including.
We'll bring up the break evens, guys. So
Yeah, I think
we
it's
can have a look at the bubble boys, and we can have a look at the trade out targets.
It is the website.
Yeah, everyone's on right now, so that's what happens. All right. So Jackson Hately, of course, is still got the highest break even, but he's only had one game, so we can't trade him in this week. We've still got Josh Rotham there if he does get named at some point. I was a little bit disappointed he wasn't a late in this week, considering they had a late... Oh, did they? No, they didn't have a late out.
I just freaked out, Chris. I was like, what the hell? It's telling me my total score, and I thought I actually jumped out in rank. I'm actually now ranked inside the top 5,000, 4,700.
Well done.
And I won all 10 of my leagues. Yeah, boy.
Oh, nice. I think I won quite a few of my leagues.
So that's good. Okay, so I got, 22-16. So after all the mayhem with those other guys, I'm now 4,728. So I've actually jumped up 6,500 ranks this week.
Well done, sir. I think you might be
It
above
makes me
now.
feel much better. I think I would, because you
I was just ahead of you last week.
And now you probably are not.
Yeah, agreed. Oh, well, I'll wait for my thing to load. Anyway, so we've got Josh Rotham still there to be able to be picked up. Larky, of course, only one game, not in the bubble. Ainsworth, definitely be taking a side of him. Ignore Joyce at all costs. Will Hayes is probably the main one. Break even of -57, averaging 63. Decent enough. You can probably acceptable to be having on field or loophole option on field, depending on.
You could probably loop with like Stack or someone else, but yeah. The thing is, if he gets like 60 on average, you're looking at Clark got 60-ish average, and he went to about 250k. Except he was obviously a much higher starting price. So yeah, it looks like Will Hayes could get 100k. For you, hopefully. So
yeah, true.
Definitely a good option, and more importantly, free up some cash. You can actually start to make some upgrades.
Now, also with a negative break even of -31, a forward rookie is Mitch Lewis, who is a key forward. He's averaged 59 over his 2 games. Look, I don't love it because key forwards typically just don't score well, especially rookie key forwards. But if you're desperate for a forward rookie, maybe you've got a.
He's so expensive though.
Yeah, at 149, there's no chance I'm getting him in.
No, me neither.
But
don't talk about him anymore.
Maybe it's your only option and you need a forward rookie. Who knows?
Yeah.
Outside of that, there's really literally no one else. Tom Sparrow's still there. Zach Clark, of course, if you want to spend a bit of cash money, is still there. And then you've got Lockie Young. So he's one that he looks good when he's got the ball, but just doesn't get enough of it. So he's averaging 47, but he's 120k defender with -24 break even. So
yeah. Let's go by price jump.
Yes, let's do that.
Go by cash cow for me, so we can just have a quick look. So it should still be the highest one from West Coast, even though he's probably not playing again because let's face it.
Yep.
Yeah, Rotham. So if he, again, projected to go up 71k, but he hasn't been named 2 times running. Rosso, what's he gone to? 190, has he? Oh, that hurts.
190 already, yeah.
Oh,
and
that hurts.
Tip to go up another 50k, yeah.
That hurts, which there's really no one there except for Will Hayes. That's so upsetting.
The unfortunate thing is that, this is peak upgrade season, and there's
nothing.
one.
No forwards, no defenders.
There's people coming through.
Only midfielders.
Yeah.
That's it. There's only midfielders.
That's what I'm saying. That's why Mitch Lewis comes into calculation. So maybe you just have to.
I might just have to go Rotham and just hope he plays another 2 games at some point.
I actually considered... I was really hoping he came in last week and I would have pulled the trigger on him.
Well, I was hoping I could push Darcy more forward and put Rotham in defence, and then that way I wouldn't have to play Petroselli and Parker. I could have loopholed. Except Darcy Morrissey played before I knew he was playing, so couldn't do that.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah, not going to happen. What about go to the one after, week 8? Let's see if anyone had a good week this week. This one. Next one over.
Okay.
So they'll do the projected for the round after. So that'll give us at least some insight into not this week, but the one after. So Haitley, if he gets named, Ainsworth. That's the one. So that's probably the one. Corbett.
Josh Corbett as well we've got coming through.
So that's it. Corbett, Ainsworth, Haitley, and Will Hayes.
Yeah. I think Ainsworth... If Ainsworth gets to game 3, he's in my team. Yeah. I think he's a rookie that can play a lot of games and be really, really good. Where are all these
rookies? Where are all these talents that's not getting games, Chris?
We'll see how we go.
The more that these rookies aren't named, the more I actually think mid-pricer was the way to go this year.
Yeah, true.
Guns and rookies only works if rookies are coming through.
Fair enough. All right, now let's get to some Twitch questions before we close it out. If you've got any further questions, do let us know. But we're now going to go through any questions that happened while we were doing our review. Okay, so...
Darcy Moore to Tim Kelly, if you can afford that. Yes, this is the week.
Oh, yeah. I think that you could probably go... If you can avoid trading Darcy Moore, then avoid it.
Yeah, but if you don't have the cash, then...
It's better playing, let's say you've got Dangerfield, Heaney, Kelly, Darcy Moore, and then 2 rookies, or maybe you've got another... maybe a Boak in there or something, and then Darcy Moore, and then Drew. If you can somehow manage to manicure your forward line so that you've got only Drew as your only on-field rookie, you're going well. Yeah. And I think that should be your early goal. Get it to the point where Drew can be the only left forward rookie, and then you can work on the rest of your team. Because everybody else, you've got decent rookie coverage in your midfield. You've got decent rookie coverage in defense.
That forward line, that's where I'm hurting at the moment, because I have literally Bynes, Setterfield, Parker, and Petrotelli. And so I have to play 2 of those on field. And obviously Bynes can't play because he's just swinging. So
at some stage, Darcy Moore is going to have a game where he goes 110. It's going to happen. So
Darcy
he
Moore
will have an even bigger price jump, and I can imagine Darcy Moore at some point being worth 380 to 400k. In which case, he's a one trade option to
someone else,
a Justin Westhoff or a
he's just
50k upgrade to a
and
bona
again
fide full
3 rounds running. He's hit 50 at halftime and then just ended up with a 79 or an 80. So his
Yep.
price has still been pretty good,
So, yeah.
but he can actually have a good score. And once he does, that price will go up,
100%.
especially around his price point at this point in time.
So I definitely prefer to keep Darcy Moore, but if it's your only way to get Tim Kelly, then just do it. Pull the trigger.
Yeah, bring him in.
Let's do it. All right. Clark to Hall or someone else? No, do not trade to Clark Hall. Clark Hall.
Clark Hall.
You've missed the boat on Hall, unfortunately. So if you won't make enough money to make the trade worth it.
No, especially with the games he's had, he's just gone high in price.
Yeah.
Stupidly. Yeah,
There's
no point because anytime that they've already had a few games, the more they make so much cash early that after that the cash is actually really slow, and at that point you actually take a risk because they're not going to make you 100k to 150k anymore.
I actually think you have to upgrade Clark to get to Hall.
What's he now? 244.
Marty Hall's at 264.
Oh yeah. He actually is going to cost you money.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
What's he? He's doing about 140k then. That's so good.
Yeah, quickly. Really quickly.
Yeah, really quickly. And he's probably got a low break even still.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
What did you score this week? We did go through at the start, so you can actually watch these streams. They obviously will be on all of our platforms, but you can watch them back on Twitch.
Oh, try and find out what you're ranked, Chris. So I scored 2211 and I'm ranked 4,728 now.
I pushed out again in my rank, which is strange. I'm only 80 points less than you, but I pushed out that much further.
So I'm 13,223. You're 13,143.
143. So there's
80 points.
80 points between us is 4,000 ranks. So that's crazy.
That's tight.
That's insane.
It's very tight.
I am ranked 8,356.
And you know what's more important, Chris?
What's that?
We're now 3-all.
We are 3-all. It won't last long. I blame Robbie Gray, to be fair.
That is true. He has really screwed you the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll see how we go. I won 6 of 9 leagues. I did win all of my important leagues. So all of my division leagues, the division league that I'm in, I won the cash league that I'm in, and I won the rivalry league that I'm in as well. So
speaking of which, you look at those. I'm going to look at our leagues.
Yep, that's fine. So thoughts on Jack Steele time trade? Yes, I do believe so. Michelle?
Not only that, if you don't have McRae, he's dropping price. With 2 sub-100 scores, he is actually going to be ripe for the picking at this point in time.
That's true. Do you think Canelio was robbed? No, I don't. Looking at the stats, no. He turned the ball over way too much.
And not contested either. He had actually 2/3 uncontested.
Yeah, he only had 7 contested possessions and 1 free kick 4, so 8 out of his 24, which is unlike him. He usually has a lot more. All the other midfielders in the GWS midfield had a minimum of 14 with a maximum of 19 contested possessions. So all of the weighting and all of the points were all going to all of the mids outside of Canelio. His last goal was a junk time goal. It was the nothing goal and that didn't score very well. And there was just no scaling in that game. So I don't know.
Our Supercoach Insider 002 league, our second league, ranked 65. Our Division 1 team is ranked 46.
Hey,
which
go
I
Div
think
1.
is absolutely crazy. The A team is ranked 55, which I think is interesting. And there's we actually got quite a few around the 100 mark. And so like 001, you're looking at 225 and that kind of thing. So between 100 and 200, really good.
We've got about 4 leagues.
002 and our
Top
Division 1 league is in the top 50, which I think is awesome.
Just got to aim for that top 10,
Go Div
guys.
1.
All right. Do you think, those people complaining about Supercoach scores should stick to DT?
Well, pretty much. That's the thing with Supercoach. It really does. How far you kick it, how efficient you are, they all play in as a factor. Yes, I know it's frustrating at times because like the umpiring, it can be up to their discretion.
That's the thing. People understand that there's Supercoach scores and people understand that when you play good, you get good Supercoach scores. But Champion Data have forever been a little bit blasé about what scores what. And it's probably because there's a lot of things that go into it, and they don't want to have to explain that was considered a long effective kick. And then people adding them on Twitter, being like, that was so a tackle that he disposed of the ball incorrectly or blah blah.
That's the only time I've ever done that.
Yeah,
it's because I was like, hang on, he's just gone minus points. In my head, I'm like, they're going to sort this out. But I'm like, no, I'm going to like tweet them just so they know to sort their stuff out.
But 100%, it will just open this can of worms that they don't want to do because...
Yeah, because if they tell them that, then all of a sudden if something happens and they interpret it differently, it's just going to go against them. But here's the thing that is consistent though. If you do good things and you're efficient and it changes the weight of the game, they give you points.
They do. They
threefold.
Scale.
Yeah, huge.
For example, there was this one goal assist that Lloyd got this like last week, and I don't think he was attributed the goal assist. So he kicks it to open space, and the player runs onto the ball and stepped inside and kicked a goal. Now, because he didn't, that's not considered an effective kick. Because it went to space, he kicked it to space, so it's not. It was not more than 40 meters, and it was an ineffective kick, even though it was a goal assist.
Yeah.
So I mean, they wouldn't take. They've got like hard rules on what is what.
Yeah, so it's like so he doesn't get an effective kick, but then he gets an assist, so it kind of balances it out a little bit.
Well, it doesn't, but like a brain should go, no, that's an effective kick, and that's a goal assist. But it's not. But people will complain about that when that's not how they actually work out. It's very black and white how they do their stats. It's either it is or it isn't. There's no in between.
I am with you.
Which is how umpiring should be.
Yeah, yeah, good one. No, I'm with you there. So, and again with the scaling, if you do something that does change the weight of the game, your points will go up. And then if you do some more things that change the weight of the game, it actually just keeps on really floating. But if you do nothing, you kind of hover there, and then you actually start to go backwards in points because your impact on the game starts to get a bit less and less and less.
Yeah.
So, Neil had like 3 things in a row that just went bang, 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 and he's literally just gone, whoop, catch you later.
Yeah.
So...
now, Tatum SNN just said Newman actually went off injured as well. So that's no good for the Blues. So we'll see. We'll track that one with interest.
Maybe Marchbank will finally do something.
Ando just said he had a 508. He was ranked 508 for the week. So well done, Ando.
Oh, nice work, Ando. Yeah, that's right. He had a really good score.
Do you go more for Daniel or Kelly? So that's a tough one. I'd probably go Kelly because there's more chance that he's going to go up in price and be out of reach. Whereas Daniel looks like he's going to be consistent and therefore his price is going to vary too much.
More people have Kelly who probably has a higher ceiling than Daniel.
Yeah.
So Kelly could have a game where it goes 140 and then
Caleb's not going to hurt you. Yeah.
He won't hurt you because he's not in as many teams. So I think Kelly is the one if you really want
I agree. I think Kelly is probably the one that you should probably get.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've got to work out ways to get him in this week. So
excellent. And Ando just said he's ranked 4,548. So you guys are in a very similar.
We are in a very 4, 5, 7, 8. Is that what you said? 4, 5, 7, 8?
4, 5, 4, 8. Sorry.
4, 5, 4, 8.
And lastly, Luke22K said about 40k away from upgrading Goldie to Gorn. What rookie do I downgrade?
He's about 180 ahead.
Well, it depends on what your team is, mate. What I would do is
upgrading Goldie.
Is going to go Goldie to Gorn. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, well, you probably started the season thinking that as well. Yeah, made 150k in the meantime.
But what's no, it hasn't. What's the difference?
He said 40k.
Is that it?
Yep.
Between the two.
Yep.
But Gorn's actually done quite well. I don't understand how that happened.
No, he didn't because he had that down game early and then he had like 110 or something similar.
Well, if he's only 40k, then I'd do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can get there cheap enough.
If you can get there with 40k, I'm not sure.
I mean, if you have to downgrade to get...
I would just message us. We'll help you out.
Show us your team.
Either on Twitter or Facebook, or you can actually message us through Twitch as well.
Yep.
And we'll be able to help you out there. We just need to have a look at your team.
Okay. All right. Well, that pretty much sums us up, I think, Chris. Not as many rookies that I was hoping for, but I guess we'll see what happens at team announcement on Thursday, and hopefully we actually get some good surprises on debutants and people that we can hope for to hold their spots, which would be even better. So
that's true.
Yes. All right, well, I think that pretty much sums us up.
It does.
Thank you for staying with us for the Sunday night special, and
we'll see you Thursday.
See you Thursday night for a quick little team announcement. And in the meantime, I hope you have hashtag blessed your team, and try not to trade too early.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Catch you later.